So let's take a look at our chord progression and how our melody is going to be informed by that chord progression and interact with it. So we have this really nice E minor chord. And the way that I started with my melody is I just wanted to do the octave. So we have, I could also do the same thing for the melody each time with whatever the chord progression is. So if we're going from E minor to C to G to D, all I would be doing is just playing the octave of each chord. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. So we'd have okay. So that could be our melody. That could also just be an added element. But when you start to think about what goes well with our progression, these are the kinds of things that will always work because they're our root. So in the beginning, I really like just sort of establishing that we're in the key of E minor. So my melody is basically going up. Well, first we have the descending E minor scale. This F sharp's emphasizing our D chord because this is the first time that we're getting that F sharp. So something also to consider is the voicings. So every single chord you can play what they call in different inversions or positions, and all that means is just moving the bottom note to the top. So for example, we have our E minor chord. I'm just going to move this E minor to the top of the chord. So it's the same exact chord. The E is just moved a step, or an octave up rather. I'm going to do the same thing with that G. I'm going to move it up. So we're going to have B, E, and G. Okay, and then so that's another position, and now we're right back to what we had one octave below. So something also to keep in mind when you're doing your chord progressions is to look at the chords, which notes do they have in common? So we have an E minor chord, we also have a C chord. I've decided that I like having that C up here. I think it has a little bit of a nicer note sound to it. So it's also easier for my hand than having to go like this. So we have the E minor chord to the C chord. And anything within here is going to work for our melody. So that's why this E minor descending scale goes very well with this. It's all same notes. They're all related to each other. So same with our G chord. I've just introduced that F sharp because we're in the D. So that's really nice to include that for your melody. That's kind of emphasizing this other chord. This is also a major chord. It gives a little bit of a hopeful feeling at the end. And then we go right back to our sad E minor. So things to think about when you're creating your melody is to think about how are these notes interacting with the chords that you have available, and to look at if you're introducing a new chord, how might you emphasize that chord with your melody? So I hope that's been useful for you.